Hey, 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 it's Cobra here. We have an excellent episode for you today. We will be discussing social reform. We have two very special guests with us. One is a concerned mother, and the other is an expert on current events. As you all know, times are changing as the 1920s are coming to an end, and the 30s are just around the corner. With this comes reform and new laws passed, which is what we will be discussing. So our first guest, Miss Longwood, will be coming out after this short commercial break. Alright, we're back. Everybody, bring Miss Longwood out.
Hey!
Hi!
I'm Miss
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
What is the problem?
Well, the problem is that
Okay.
my daughter is the problem. And then she's not on birth control, and don't get me wrong, I don't want her to be. But she's going out all hours of the night, every single night. That's 7 days a week. 7.
Right.
And so it's just...
So you're worried about the decisions that she's making?
Yeah, and she wants to go on birth control, and I'm telling her she shouldn't have to go on birth control.
Right.
She shouldn't be doing all of this. And you know what she's becoming?
Don't tell me.
A flapper, everyone, a flapper.
How could you let
Who
this
wants
happen?
a daughter as a flapper? Who wants a flapper for a daughter? Who wants that, honestly? And so, I'm just really upset about it. And you know what else?
What?
That stupid Margaret Sanger. Her. It's her problem. You know what she created? Family planning clinics. That makes my daughter think it's
and
okay
birth
that...
control. So this is all her fault in the first place.
She created the American Birth Control League, which was the precursor to the Planned Parenthood Federation of America. And you know what else is ridiculous? My daughter is now pregnant.
She's pregnant?
She's pregnant. And she doesn't know who the father is. Honestly. What am I supposed to do? I'm just a failure.
Could the alcohol have maybe led to her? Does she drink when she goes
Yeah,
out?
she goes out and parties all
Even though
the time.
prohibition by the 18th Amendment is...
Yeah, I don't know how she's getting it. I don't know. It's just, she finds a way. And the 18th Amendment, which banned manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors, she just ignores that. And she totally and completely disagrees with the Volstead Act, or the National Prohibition Act, which described what intoxicating beverages were. Mm-hmm. And you know that other one, the
Cohen-Harrison Act. Yeah, it prohibited manufacturing and sale of alcohol and liquor.
Yeah, and it's just...
I don't understand how everybody can just go around and borrow this stuff if it's illegal. I don't know where they get it from.
I know, and it's just, I really feel like the alcohol is affecting her decisions, and also, she can't even remember who the father is. I'm sorry, but...
Yeah, I'm sure it's not just you. I'm sure there are many other mothers out there who
I hope so. And you know what's the worst part of this, Cobra? I foresee that the 21st Amendment in 1933 will repeal prohibition. And it's just...
It will just add to the problem. Oh, it's okay. Well, we're gonna stop it for a commercial, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming.
I mean, you're welcome. I'll just sit in the audience for the next person, I guess.
Okay.
I'll see you all later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
We're just gonna stop for another commercial break, and we'll be right back. Okay, everybody, we're back, and that commercial was so ironic because we were just talking about pregnancy and birth control. But now we have another guest, an expert, Mrs. Brown, who talks about current events. Come on out.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
So nice to see you again.
Great to have you on here.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Miss Brown. I'm an expert on current events and reform events of the now. Thank you.
So, what will you be talking about with us today?
Well, I think right now we're going to roll with the women's factor.
Since that's kind of been the
theme, like women and pregnancy and birth control. Mm-hmm. So we already discussed Margaret Sanger and her reforms, but now we're going to discuss someone else. Alice Paul. She proposed the Equal Rights Amendment, which it came after the suffrage movement and the 19th Amendment, and the 19th Amendment granted women's suffrage, the women's right to vote, right, men, okay. But so she was just,
it proposed, making all of discrimination based on sex illegal, right?
Yeah, exactly. She just didn't think that, women's suffrage was enough. She wanted more. She wanted equal rights for women and men. Yes! And,
So how did that go across?
Well, she introduced it and proposed it to Congress in 1923, but as everyone knows, it was never passed because it's not in action now. So we all feel really bad about it, but, I mean, it's a shame, but I guess eventually women will get equal rights.
Right, it takes time.
Yeah. In 1920, though, the Women's Bureau of the Department of Labor was established, and it was made to gather information about the situations of women at work, mm-hmm. and to advocate
working conditions, kind of.
Yeah, basically, and to help change bad conditions, long working hours, and stuff. And it just helped create other movements, basically, because it showed everyone the problems in the women's workforce. So after discussing these labor movements, we have some fun facts. Okay, so 1928. Does everyone know what year that is? Yeah, 1928. But do you know what was big about that year? Do you?
Oh, the Olympics.
Yeah, and do you know who was in the Olympics? Not just men, but
women!
Yes.
Oh, they won a gold medal, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm sure they did. And and also in 1928, women started realizing, hey, maybe I could go to college. Maybe I could get a better job. Maybe then if I get a better job, I'll be equal to men. Maybe I can be an expert and be on Cobra's show, So they started going to college, and by 1928, same year as the Olympics, women were earning 39% of the college degrees given in the United States. Isn't that great?
That's almost half.
Yeah, it's basically they were getting there. Still not equal to men, but they were getting there. And there were also women's universities founded just for women, no men allowed.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it was just really good for women in the 1920s. Reform started and everything. It was just it was a good decade.
I can tell that it's gonna bring a bunch of new things to our society.
Yeah, in when World War II happens, in my head I'm sort of a psychic. Women they just took over men's jobs while men were away fighting the armed forces. Women weren't generally allowed,
right.
But I feel like women are gonna make a huge impact. Like Rosie the Riveter, I think she looks a little like me. She just was the campaign ad for women in the workforce. And daycares...
That really changed things.
Yes, and I feel like daycares are going to start being established as well. And just, women really, they make a comeback. Well, they just come into society. Yeah, so that's all for the current events and current reforms of today.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely have you in a few years to see how things come out.
A few years, yeah.
Or sooner if you'd like,
Hey!
Thank you.
See you all later!
And that was Miss Brown and Miss Longwood talking about reform and pregnancy and birth control. Well, I'll see you guys next week. See what we have in store for then. Goodbye!